But I tend to think, if a little's good, maybe a more is even better. And so I tend to try to do my savers each and every morning. And yet everything is difficult before it's easy. So this is difficult to start, right?
Welcome. This is the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping others through real estate investing. Our hosts interview guests from all aspects of real estate investing who generously share valuable experiences and advice. Whether you're starting out or an experienced investor, this is the show for you.
Hello, and how's it going? My name is Travis Shelton, and welcome to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we focus on the mindset, motivation, and methodologies of successful real estate investors. And today we're going to focus on a subject that I learned a few years ago and something that I incorporated into my life called savers. And so if you haven't heard of savers, you're definitely going to want to tune in. And if you have heard of savers, you're definitely going to want to tune in to figure out kind of how I structure my mornings and what I do and what I've included into my own personal savers. And I've said this a lot on the podcast, and I want to give credit to the person that I stole it from. And the saying is, or the quote is, "Success leaves clues." And I finally actually rediscovered where I first had heard this, and it was through Tony Robbins. So pretty good company there. And he says that success leaves clues. And when we talk about savers, it's one of the success principles that I found that a lot of high achievers were doing, morning rituals and morning motivational things. And, some of you guys might take a cold plunge or seen, everyone taking cold plunges and doing stuff like that. But what I found, successful individuals start their day right. And so today we're going to focus on number one, what are savers? Number two, why you should start your mornings every morning with daily savers. And number three, how long is this going to take? Right? Because, I've asked you guys to write goals. I've asked you guys to do certain things and changes within your day. And I know with all of this, I'm an extremely busy individual. It's going to take time, and it's going to take practice, and it's going to take commitment for you guys to ultimately be able to weave these habits into your day to day. And so we'll jump right into it and talk about savers. Okay. And why, number one, what are they? So savers is an acronym, right? SAVERS. And the S stands for silence. Okay. Now with silence, it can be meditation. This could be prayer. This could be reflection. It could be that cold plunge. It could simply be just deep breathing, right? And so you just want to start your day every morning, with just a little silence, a little reflection, maybe a little prayer, right? This kind of helps you get the day going. The A stands for affirmations, right? And so there's a good way of doing affirmations, and there's a wrong way of doing affirmations. And, I know a lot of people make fun of people that do affirmations, and there's a really nice Saturday Night Live skit for it. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something like, I'm good enough, I'm brave enough, and gosh darn it, people like me, and it's something really silly like that. And that's what people tend to think of when they think of savers, right? But at the end of the day, or I mean, not savers, but when they think of affirmations, right? They're really goofy ways of people giving themselves self-motivational talk. But I'll tell you, affirmations are important because Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And so what I like about affirmations is again, there's a right and a wrong way, right? You can just say, hey, I want to be a millionaire, but you really need a time, a place, a deadline, just like with goals. And we talk about SMART goals, is you got to have SMART affirmations. You got to have specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound affirmations that, hey, I want to be a millionaire before I'm 30, before I'm 40, whatever it might be, right? But being able to place, in your affirmations in a specific thing. And if you want to know more about affirmations, definitely, I'm going to recommend a book today that talks all about savers and why you should, and it'll help you kind of create your own affirmations. The V stands for visualization. So this, again, along with that Napoleon Hill quote, being able to close your mind, right? And you can do a lot of these things at the same time. You can do your silence, you can close your eyes, you can do your breathing, you can do your affirmations and be visualizing, what you really want. who you really need to get what you really want and what you need to do to get and be who you really want. So if you're sitting there visualizing yourself as a multimillionaire, are you really overweight? Are you really unhealthy? Do you have a wife, or do you have a, your third ex, supermodel girlfriend? What is it in your world that you're visualizing, right? So I visualize myself all the time, almost doing nothing at a beach, relaxing with my family, enjoying the fruits of my labor, right? But I like to visualize myself also with real estate properties, either viewing them or updating them. I like to visualize my family older. Who's around me? Is my dad still around? Is he healthy? Is my wife? How much more beautiful does my wife look in a couple years? All these things that you really want to see within yourself and within the people around you. I like to be able to take just a few seconds every day, maybe a minute at most, and visualize that work. When I accomplish what I want to accomplish, what are those things? People might have a vision board, same sort of concept, right? So you want that nice Ferrari, that Lamborghini, that mansion, whatever, and being able to have the visual board and look at it regularly and routinely, it gives you and it drives motivation. So this visualization every day, same sort of concept, something I really want. Maybe it's the project that I'm working on. Maybe it's the 6 units in South Carolina I just bought. And I'm trying to think about, what do I need to do? What are the steps I'm going to take to be able to make that successful? How do I envision that property to look? Those are all things. It's a process of me going through it, visualizing, and then ultimately executing on those things. So E stands for exercise, right? And so it's a proven fact that if you can get your cardiovascular, if you can get your heart rate going, you're going to retain more information. You're going to have a more productive day. So by doing, some exercise in the beginning of the day, you're going to set your mind right, and you're going to set your body right up for a very successful day. R is reading, right? We got to sharpen the saw. We got to continuously improve ourselves. And part of that is by reading. And also by reading, it stimulates just different neurons in your brains. It stimulates a lot of things within your day-to-day. And so, it could be a page a day, it could be 10 pages a day, but reading something, and maybe just not scrolling on your phone, but an actual book, people. Like, read actual pages, and this is not something I would do. All right. Like, I did not read a book until I was out of college. Like, I got a doctorate before I actually read a book. And I started really just by Audible, reading books, listening to books on my commutes. And then from that, it became a superpower where I really wanted to learn and delved into self development and delved into real estate investing. And while I listened to books, I also like to be able to pick up the book and thumb through it and look at some of the examples, some of the math, some of the examples, some of the pictures of these books that I was maybe listening to on Audible, but try to read, right? And then S is for scribing, or, another term for writing something down. So this could be journaling. It could be something as simple as, what I like to do is I like to write my 5, we've talked about, the power of 5, but 5 goals, those 5 critical tasks that I want to accomplish every single day. I like to write those down, and then I like to scribble them off. I also like to write down 5 things I'm grateful for each and every day. And so those are the savers. And I kind of teased the book, but this is the book where I learned it all from, right? It's called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Okay. Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And there's a bunch of these books. Okay. This one particularly is for parents and families, right? But there's one for real estate investors. There's one for people in business. There's one, they've written a ton of these, just all Miracle Morning XYZ, but definitely all of them are based around this principle that Hal was able to identify through a really crazy story. So I highly recommend this book. If you get a chance, definitely pick up one of the Miracle Mornings, whatever one speaks to you the most, right? But within those savers, right, I can't do anything exactly like someone else. And so I've kind of created my own savers, right? So within savers, the S is silence, but I meditate and I pray, right? It's my time every morning to pray. You might see recently, I've been, during this Lenten season, being able to put on the specific journal, the certain devotional that I'm reading every morning. I try to share that on my Instagram and my Facebook stories so that you guys can kind of see some of the things that I'm reading every day. With the affirmations, I keep I keep the affirmations, and these are affirmations that I've written down. These are affirmations I've created for myself. I probably have too many affirmations that I say every day, but I do kind of tone it down and say specific ones every day. And I say kind of a couple of them once a week, right? So I have kind of a daily ritual, and then I have one that when I have more time on my hands in the morning, I like to do a little bit further of, a savers type ritual, daily ritual. Visualizations, this is one I actually struggle with. I tend to not want to close my eyes. I tend to not want to do visualizations. And so sometimes if in my morning, it's really hard for me to get a couple minutes, but whenever I can, I do try to visualize things that I want. I have pictures of like a K5 Blazer, an old chopped off top, K5 Blazer. And those are things that I really want. But really, I like to be able to visualize myself and my family when I hit the number that I want, when I hit that family financial freedom number that I really want, and what we'll be doing and the experiences that we're having. And we're trying to really live that in real time. But also, I like to visualize, what if money wasn't an object? What are those things that I would do for myself and my family? For E, it's exercise, but I also think about eating right. Right. You can't just do one without the other. So I do tend to think of E as both exercise and eating right, because if I fuel my body correctly, that I'm going to be able to get a lot more done in the day. And then R for reading, but it's also for me for reviewing my goals. All right. So part of that reading something on a piece of paper, if I can't sit down in my morning and read 10 pages, I'm going to at least review my goals every single morning, my quarterly 12-week goals, so that I know what I'm supposed to be focusing on. And then I can utilize those goals to create my critical tasks for the day so that I can win the day. And then that writing down, right? It's writing down my Power 5. It's writing down what I'm grateful for. So that's how I've kind of structured my savers each and every day. And it's just a really great way to set you on the right path in the morning. It can be more some days, it can be less some days. So, why should you start your day with savers? And I say this a lot. I say success leaves clues. And I stole that from somebody who you might have heard. And his name is Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, I'm in pretty good company, states all the time that success leaves clues. When I won the Alumni of the Year award from my college, I'm the alumni president for a few years for my College of Pharmacy, and I won this prestigious award that they only give out to one alumni for both campuses every single year. So I was blessed and honored to be able to win that award, and I got to give a speech, right, to a number of people. I don't know how many people were in the crowd. And the title of the speech was Success Leaves Clues. And it was all about, how I got to where I was by basically mimicking and copying a lot of, my preceptors and my professors and those people that I saw around me that were the most successful, that I just asked them, hey, what did you do? And I copied their principles. And it's a lot of the same in real estate investing, is being able to find, mentors and people that you want to be like, or that they've had success, and following within their footsteps, right? And so that's why you should start your day with savers. You should want to be successful. And if you want to be successful, find the things that other successful people are doing. And I will tell you that every single successful individual that I tend to come across has some sort of daily ritual, has something that they do to prime themselves in the morning, whether it be a cold plunge, right? Whether it be meditation, whether it be deep breathing, a lot of different things. And savers is just one of those things that incorporates a couple of the different avenues that some of the most successful people do. But I tend to think, if a little's good, maybe a more is even better. And so I tend to try to do my savers each and every morning. And yet everything is difficult before it's easy. So this is difficult to start, right? And so the next question I always get when I talk about my morning rituals or what I'm doing in the morning is, how long does that take, Travis? This sounds like, hey, am I going to have to wake up 4 hours earlier in the day? Am I going to have to, figure out how to find another hour or two of my day? No, absolutely not. Savers is not something should be taking you hours. Yeah, you could go and take 2 hours and go work out at the gym. That would be an incredible way to check off your box for E and the exercise. But You could also do 25 jumping jacks just to get your heart going, just to get your cardio, just to get your metabolism kicked off in the morning, just to get a little bit of a sweat or a little bit of, breathing more deeply, right? You could just jump down and do 10 or 15 or 20 or 25 push-ups real quickly, right? It can be as simple as that. Now, I'm not saying that's enough for your exercise in the day, but if you really just want to start your day, jump up and do 25 push-ups and see, is my heart rate going? Depending on how physically fit you are, it probably is. And then, hey, you can kind of check that box. And so, I think about savers in about 5 to 10 minutes a day. Okay. Now, yeah, some days it will take me 30 minutes, an hour. Maybe I'll do an hour walk or hour exercise, but most days of the week, I can get these savers done and what I'm trying to accomplish in about 5 to 10 minutes. So maybe a couple minutes to pray, maybe a minute or so to be able to do my affirmations, maybe another minute for visualizations, maybe just some jumping jacks or really quick push-ups, maybe some sit-ups really quickly. Maybe that's, 3 or 4 minutes to be able to do my exercise, my reading. I'm going to review my goals, and that's going to take me another minute. If I can read a couple pages, maybe that's going to take me, in those longer days, a little bit longer. And then writing down the 5 critical things I need to do every day and 5 things I'm grateful for is another 60 seconds. So that's how I can break this down in probably less than 10 minutes every day. I can really devote to savers. And those days that maybe I have a little bit longer, I can say some more affirmations. I can do an actual physical exercise or go to the gym or walk my dog or do something a little bit more physically fit. Again, this is kind of the minimum. Okay, people, I'm not talking that, hey, all you have to do is, these things and you're going to be successful. These are some of the minimal daily standards. We've talked about daily minimum standards before. These are some of the daily things that successful people do and that you have to kind of figure out, how can I incorporate this into my life? So again, if you're fearful that, hey, this is going to take way too long, that I don't have enough time in the day, start with one. Okay? Start with silence. Right now, you probably can't hear it, but I can hear my baby out there crying. My wife's out there, but it's hard to get silence in my house with 3 little kids running around. Okay. I work full time. My wife works. We have 3 kids. Like, having silence, waking up at 5 a.m. is, that's about the only time I get a little bit of silence in my day. But just taking 5, 10 seconds, walk outside, go somewhere, go in the backyard, go in your car if you have to, and breathe for 5 seconds, right? We teach our kid 5-second breathing. If you haven't learned it, it's a great way to decrease anxiety for little kids, to calm little kids down, right? That's all it really takes. All right. So don't think that, oh, I have to, change my life tomorrow. I have to I got to wake up 2 hours early to get these savers done to be successful. That's not the case. Find 5 minutes, find 30 seconds. Start with one. Start with breathing. Maybe start with saying a couple prayers if you're into those sorts of things. If you're not, maybe you just reflect. Maybe you just deep breathe. Maybe you say a couple of things you're grateful for every single morning, and see how that improves your day. Start with that one thing, and I'd recommend doing gratitude. Breathe deeply for 5 seconds. Say 5 things you're grateful for with each breath, and see where that takes you to start. And then try to start incorporating some of these other things. Heck, that's what I did. I wasn't a big fan of affirmations. I thought they were kind of a hoax. I was like, whatever. But the more and more I saw really, really successful people doing it, and how it changed their lives, and how, you could really conceive and believe in anything you can conceive and believe you can achieve. Well, then you start really believing. And as you start writing down affirmations and you start achieving those affirmations, you realize how truly powerful these things can be. And so really, if you're struggling with thinking, how am I going to get these savers that should really take 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your day, it's maybe too much to start with one. Okay. And the goal ultimately is to have more time to work on your personal goals and your mindset, and not to overwhelm yourself with just, another thing that you have to do every morning. But you'll notice that, maybe if it feels like a chore, maybe start with one. If it's maybe a chore, maybe this isn't the right morning ritual for you. Find your own. But for me, this jumpstarts my day. This kickstarts my day. This gets me going. This gets me fired. I hope you hear it in my voice right now. But man, I'll tell you what, savers changed my life. It's something that, the Miracle Morning, I heard this a long time ago, started doing it. And it's really energized the beginning of each and every one of my days. And it gets me going. And I hope it does the same for you. So that's all I got for you guys today. Really hope that you guys figure out a way to incorporate some savers into your day. And if you're looking for a great book, highly recommend The Miracle Morning, and find the one that works best for you. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and commit to taking action today to move your investing forward. Take care, and God bless.